the Neo Solo Regalado. And Rigasols are soils with little profile development, and the leptic Rigosols have English rock or hardened material within 100 centimeters from the soil surface. And they're normally sandy textured and highly erodible. And they're in mountainous regions. Here's what they look like. And here's where the profile is from in Brazil. And here's the chemical properties. And here's the landscape picture. The next one I'm looking at is a pan Fluviacell. They're soils with stratified material from marine or lacustic sediments, and they form alluvial. Here's a picture. Here's what the properties are. Here's what the profile look like. This is a fluvial soil, or like along streams or rivers, and here's where they meet along rivers and ponds. Part of it today. And they'll meet us up here
Eu sei que deu trabalho, mas acho que parabéns para os empreendedores.
Canvas also, little formation. Soil is similar to an Inceptisol in U.S. classification, but it has high organic matter in it, as you can see by the dark color on the A horizon. And this next soil is a Lixisol, which would be more of a tropical soil, which is highly weathered and similar to an oxysol, and it's very red colored. Or that could be an altisol too, depending upon what the chemical properties are. So this Acrosol is similar to an altisol soil order that is in parts of the U.S. that has an accumulation of kaolinite and iron oxide clays and clays that have a low cation exchange capacity, which is due to isomorphic substitution in the minerals and the layers within the clay minerals themselves. And there's an increase in clay percentage from the soil surface to the subsurface. So like the surface horizon will have like 15% clay, and the subsurface horizon will have 25% clay. And in order to be classified as it needs to have a certain percentage clay increase to meet that classification. It says that it's more productive than a lot of other tropical soils. It does have high organic matter in the A horizon. I think this would sort of classify as an altisol in USD, not an altisol, an alphasol because of its base status. Because it has greater than half the CEC as calcium and is based cations, which are calcium, magnesium, and sodium and potassium. And here's where it's at, and it says accumulation of cladons D and an A and a B / A, which is a transitional horizon, which is sort of has properties of an A horizon, sort of has properties of a B horizon. And this soil is a I'm not sure what this would be. Would this be a mollisol or what soil order this is classified? It looks like it has a deep A here. This is a plain sol, and that would have water down. It says it has periodic tables of water saturation at certain time, and there's an accumulation of clay down deep. This would, I don't know, this would possibly classify as an alpha sol in USDA classification. You can see that it has periodic wetting and drying. That soil does have a higher, not really higher cation exchange capacity. These soils all have low cation exchange capacity, so they must have a lot of one-to-one clays in there. This is a podzol, which is a forest soil. You can see the E horizon, the A horizon, and the BH horizon. These are very common in Florida and in the northeast and northern Wisconsin and Michigan and sandy areas. They have accumulation of iron or aluminum oxide, which is the S horizon. They're usually in humid climates like it says and in sandy areas, and commonly grown under evergreen vegetation. They're commonly formed, very acidic, very low natural fertility. So they're not the most desirable soil for agriculture, but they're wonderful for forest. That one is not in the forest though. This is the soil with plinthite.
Oh,
and that is like a hardened rock of iron, and they have very poor drainage, and it's like a cemented clay with iron and gibbsite, which has banding in it, and it doesn't have very good drainage because of the cemented horizon. You can see the banding down deeper in the soil. And it says it's formed from wetting and drying cycle. This is a very unique soil property, which isn't super common, but it's awesome. A glacial is a soil that's saturated during certain times. I'm not sure what this is classified in America. This would probably be an inceptisol or an entisol in USDA classification, seeing as it just has a G horizon. It has a BG, so yeah, I would even inceptisol, which is just a base basket of soil orders. This is an organosol haplotype. This would be like a wetland soil, so a histosol in USDA classification. You can see the high organic matter in it, and you can look at the chemical criteria, and there's very high levels of organic matters. And there's usually water saturation, which prevents the breakdown of organic material and a lot forces it to accumulate, because cycling is very slow when soils are wet and anaerobic, and it gets faster when the soils are aerobic. This is a leptic phaeozyme. They have a thick black topsoil, so this would be a mollisol. As long as it had a molic pattern and had the chemical criteria to make it. This would be a very productive soil, likely. And you can see it has very high organic matter, very high base status, and high CEC, so this would be a very highly productive soil for agriculture purpose. In the R on the bottom of the horizon is rock. Is it A, a BA, then a G. This is a vertisol. These soils are classified because of the certain types of clay, and they have high shrinking and swelling 2-to-1 clays. And they form cracks, and are considered an engineer's nightmare because of their shrinking and swelling, and it's very difficult to build buildings and roads in them because of their very dynamic soil properties. And you can see, and there's a lot of mixing from the shrinking and swelling of the clays in them. Here is another tropical soil. There's an A, a BA, then BO is very red colored and very high in irons, which brings the red color. You actually don't need that much iron to get the bright red color, but these soils are very high, and they're high in iron and aluminum oxides and resistate minerals because they're highly weathered in old soils and very acidic and leached. And if you look at the chemical criteria, most of the basic cations in their surface, and they're going to get lower with depth. This rapid here is another tropical soil, and it says similar things as show the other one. And this would be these would be considered magnetic because they have high magnetite in them, which is very unique. Because magnetite is a type of iron mineral that bears iron, and it's one of the few minerals that magnets are attracted to it. Magnets are attracted to iron because of how its electron shells are. But they're not, like hematite isn't magnets, I don't think are attracted to what magnetite they are. So you can tell, it's another oxisol here. Yeah, this is a ferritic ferrosol.
What? I'm just taking a video of all of them so I can look at
I'm
what
going to
they
say
are.
similar things.
Yeah. It works okay. It's kind of getting low on battery though.
And it has the chemical criteria with it. Very low natural fertility. So these soils have really light colored organic matter. I don't know what order. A2, EA. Being an insecticide, I'm not sure what order that would be. I think that would be an insecticide. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't see the clay increase, so that's what I would do that. And here's another tropical soil. There's a lot of patterns of tropical soil, and these are like what we have for patterns for teaching or showing. I'm just making this video for fun to look at it because I enjoy looking at these. And they say they use this for coffee production. And the difference between oxasols and alphasols and alphasols are like alphasols and alphasols have clay films on the subsurface diagnostic range, where the oxasols do not. Here's a very yellow pattern. Interesting soil. They say these have a lower iron content because, which would explain why they're not a bright red color. I hope you enjoy this video.